All right. Good morning. Good morning. Blue Quant, Gainsome, William, Sebastian. Good to have you all here. Hope you all had a good weekend. Got some fishing in. Didn't catch a darn thing. Water was beautiful though. We'll let some people trickle in, and then we'll get started. No news Monday. Low probability day. How do we navigate it? What do we look for? What do we do? Ahmed, good to have you here. Good morning to you as well. We're fighting to get up over 20 viewers right now. If y'all could just like the stream real quick. Maybe say hello if you're one of the people joining in. I was going to let some people flow in, but it might just be a slow day. We might not be having people show up today. That's okay. You know, more the merrier, but we'll get it going. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, the information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm trying to get more in the center of the frame here. All right, we're going to get going. Starting out on NASDAQ as always. Okay, I've left my notes up from last week. I like to do this. I like to just leave the... whenever you all have seen me in the past kind of show up with blank charts every single day, that's really not practical. I like to just leave my notes from last week up there to see, you know, what was I thinking last week? Did it play out? Maybe it was a delayed reaction, so, you know, if we've had a first red day here and it didn't quite follow through here, are we going to look over here? I'm not saying that's what I'm doing, but it's kind of just nice to do that because then it can help flow into the new week and know kind of what I'm looking for. All right, so we had last Thursday this inside bar that was also a first red day after multiple days of going up, right? We've had multiple days of pump. They've gone back to the high. In fact, remember we triggered a low down here. We went back to the high. We got the inside bar. First red day that then followed through on Friday. All right, but it was in the Asian session, which is pretty unfortunate. And I had talked about on Friday when we were doing the stream, hey Beats, good morning, about the 1 bar range that they had stuck us in, this low and high. And then we just consolidated on the inside of that all day long. We didn't even get to the high of this bar until 10:30. We didn't close higher than this bar until in the afternoon. And then now over the weekend, we've gapped down. So now I'm trying to evolve into what should I be looking for today. And we've opened the market now outside of a breakout. So I'm going to annotate this here. Okay, so whenever we have a market that's in breakout or outside of a breakout level, the very next thing is project a level across, and then after that I ask myself, I tell myself the market is only going to do 3 things from this breakout. You know, we've still got this low down here, and we've been making lower lows. We're in breakout to go down, so whenever we're in breakout to go down, I'm going to look and say, well, do I have lower lows and lower highs being formed? And then can I trade this in that direction based off of those areas? So we've got the lower low down here. We've triggered the previous day's low. And then on the day itself, we've started making higher highs and higher lows. So what I would like to do now is we've got the lower low in place. We're at the low of the current week. So I'm fully aware. And we also have not triggered any weekly levels, right? The previous week's low is down here. Previous week's high is going to be up here. So we're still very much on the inside of weekly levels, but we are triggering previous day's levels. The only thing that I could really do with this, and I don't really think that I want to do this, is look for a continuation. We're making lower lows and lower highs. We've broken out down. I would need to wait for a lower low to form over here. The reason I say I don't really care for doing that is because we've got a bit of a full recovery of this gap now. It's very well, we could just see this keep going up, and maybe this turns into a first green day or whatever. But if I was to take this based off of playbook opportunities, we have a breakout down and a lower low in a market that is already making lower lows and lower highs. I would have to watch this and see if it's going to make a lower low on the day, and then look to take that trade if it, presented properly. So we've got this up move here that has pulled back in excess of 2 bars, which means that this is my high right here. And they've broken that high and closed higher, which means that this is now my higher low. Hey, Paulie, good morning. And then we've got this up here. So this technically is not even a high yet, because they have not pulled back in excess of 2 bars. So we don't have a high in place. We only have the recent high that was over here. And then this low is confirmed. So I'm going to leave this like this. Okay, let's go to US 30. Template, thought process, and then what is currently happening to help confirm. All right. Now this, let me zoom out. All right. This is also not triggered previous days or previous week's levels, but this, similar to the NASDAQ, has broken down and broken out below. Oh, I take it back. Yes, it has. I zoomed out a little too far. I started looking way back over here. Ridiculous. So we actually have triggered previous week's levels on US 30, which is good because we've gone to the outside. Last week, let's just do a little recap. Last week, we had the large down close day, closing in breakout on Monday. We got an inside bar. They triggered both sides of that inside bar on Wednesday and closed in breakout first green day. Thursday went vertical off of that first green day and expanded the range to the upside. And we have a range expansion of that inside bar almost perfectly to the upside. All right, that also closed in breakout. Market only does 3 things. The breakout failed over the course of 2 days. So then we came into Friday, and we have now triggered the low, making this a lower low first red day, which is great. First green, breakout fails over the course of 2 days. Lower low, first red day. This is a lower low on the inside of the current week's range. And then we gap down to and through to where that move had began, which was the low of Monday, which this was also a breakout down. So now we're making lower lows and lower highs in a market that is already making lower lows. Okay. So that being said, the reason I even say all that is because that tells me what I should be looking for. We're making lower lows and lower highs. We're in breakout down. We've continued to make lower lows and lower highs, and now we've pumped it back up off of that low. So the bottom of a box is now going to become the top of a box because we're in breakout down. I'm going to look at a 5-minute chart. Exact same thing as the NASDAQ. Same thought process is going to apply. We have not pulled back since right over here. Let's see, we got one bar outside of here and then second. So I think that this swing low here is the most recent invalid. We broke right here. So this high is in place right here. We broke and we went higher. So this is my higher low here. And this is my higher high. So if they continue to make higher highs and higher lows, well, that makes it really simple for me. I just don't do anything. If it breaks down from this area and starts making lower lows and lower highs, that also makes it really simple because then I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to go to gold. Maybe we can find something a little bit more clear. Here's some of my notes from last week, a bit of a recap. We've got 4 minutes to the open. Wednesday of last week, market went from high of week down to low of Tuesday, which is the low of the current week. Tried to go lower than that. Market opened, tried to go lower, and then closed near its highs, also closing above the open for that day and also the previous day's close at basically the lowest close within the week. So this is a really good first green day. Then you get first day of breakouts in the other direction. We've been going down, market go down, breakout, market go up, all right? We break out, we continue to go higher and rally off of day one breakouts, first green day on Friday. And that also closes in breakout. So we have 1 day of breakouts, second day of breakouts. And then now today we've triggered the high and we have a third day of breakouts. We also have 3 peaks, 1, 2, and 3. So this, I'm looking at a 15-minute chart right now, right meow. Okay, they closed higher than the high of the day, which was over here, which would have confirmed this as a low. Was that at the high of the current week? Okay, so we've also triggered the high of the previous week on this, broke down and made this lower low. So automatically, this one is going to have to go to a little bit higher on the list as far as what I would like to see has started to play out. We've got 3 days of breakouts. We have a lower low back on the inside of the previous week's range. We've triggered current high of week, previous day's levels. We've triggered the previous week's high. So we've gone to the outside. This one has got to go higher on the priority list because of those things. It doesn't mean it's going to play out. It just means that it's higher on the priority list, okay? Let's go to a 5 minute. So this is a pretty large down run. We got the higher high. They never went any higher, so this has got to be my level in which I would like to see broken. They've broken it. So now this is my anchor. Basically my lower low. They have pulled back in more than 2 bars or in excess of 2. So this is a valid low. This is good. We had this down closed bar down over here. We came back up in 1 bar, 2, so that makes this a more significant pullback. I like this. Okay. 3 days of breakouts, lower low on the inside of the previous week's range. We've triggered levels. We've gone to the outside. We'll see. Okay, Russell is going to be the exact same as like US 30 and NASDAQ. We've broken out. Friday actually closed. This was the first red day, and it closed in breakout to the downside over here. Try to clear this up. This was first red day, but also day one breakouts down. And then today's gap down through this. I don't need to project this across necessarily because we've already broken out here. So this top of the box or bottom of the box becomes top of box, breakout, pullback. Are we going to break out and pull back for continuation, or has this gap down and this is a false move to begin the week? We've started making higher highs and higher lows. See this pulled back in 1 bar. Oh, it did actually pull back. Here's my second bar down over here. So this was a valid high. And they broke and they made a higher high. They pulled back leg 1, leg 2, leg 3 and made a lower low. Which means that this swing high is valid and they've also broken the high. So I would be looking for this high to fail if that's what's happening. It could just go vertical and start making higher highs and higher lows again, and then I would just ignore it. Okay. And that will be fine. There we go. Holy cow. We might just go vertical. 9:30. All right. Oil. Oil was one that I was looking at earlier this morning. And I'll tell you why. Thursday broke, made a lower low. All right, we were making higher highs. We were breaking out to the upside. They broke down, made this lower low. Friday was a first green. We've pumped it back up to the high. So market go up, market try to go down. Whenever that happens for the first time, they try to go back up. Peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, peak formation high, breaks down. And then now, possibly, 3-day setup. Are we going to go back towards where the move began? This needs to go up on my list. This is also doing what I need it to do. All right, we've got a higher high in place. We've got a higher high in place. They pulled back. They've just broke down and made a lower low. So gold and oil are at the top of my list. Immediately, they go to the top. Shaky, good morning. All right, I'm going to get my screen up here. We're going to get all fours, and that way I can monitor a little bit better. And I just want to make sure that I have, you know, the instruments, the pairs that I really want to see up here. All right, here we go. Yeah, I think that I would even be willing to take NASDAQ off and put the Russell just because this lower low did get put in place. So it sends it a little bit higher up on the tier list of you know, instruments that I really want to be watching. I think that the Russell, I know I have it top left, so it's like, oh, that's first. I always put the indexes up here. So US 30 is probably at the bottom of my list. And then these two down here would be top of list along with maybe the Russell. But the Russell, it would need to reverse strongly from this point. We're at the high of the current day. You know, we've filled the gap. Top or bottom of the box becomes the top of the box. We're at levels. We've made the lower low on the inside of the current week's range. We would have to reverse strongly and convince me that we've just trapped everybody. We got peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, lower low. They attempt to make a higher high, and it would fail aggressively. And then I would say, hey, they've just trapped all the shorts at the high of the day, breakout pullback in a down moving market. They should be giving those people the middle finger. Let's go back to the low of the day. And that would be how I would work that. Get my other screen set up here. 9:34, so we're about 5 minutes after the open. First 5-minute bar. Establishing the opening range for the session. Surely I should not have waited until... I should not have waited until market open to be pulling up my other screen here. Things always start lagging insanely around this time. We got a request for pound CAD. Absolutely. Sheep. Let me get this pulled up over here. So if there is a trade that presents and I need to enter, I can do that. My whole computer is not letting me do things. I don't know what is going on. All right. All right, we're all set up. Cool. Let's take a look at this. Pound CAD. I'm going to put it up here in the top right. All right, so if you're looking at this, the very first thing you should be saying is, how did yesterday close? You know, when I pull this up, that's the first thing that I see is yesterday closed in breakout down. We have breakout, breakout. So what kind of trade am I going to take? Is it going to be a trend trade? Is it going to be a reversal trade? And what am I looking for? Closed in breakout, I project that level across. I look for today to make lower lows and lower highs and pop back up into the session to give me continuation signals or patterns. So this lower low here, we've got a high in place, basically the high of the day. So I would be waiting for them to break down, and that's it. Probably not the best thing that I've seen, but if I was forced to trade this, that's what I would do. I would be looking for the trend opportunity. This is also triggered previous week's low, which is good. And also just reading and looking at price action, like the way that they've compressed things into the low. I would be really cautious about shorting, just because they've really compressed things down without going any lower, and then they've broken back up to the upside. So I would be very careful doing that. I know that's not exactly crazy in depth, but sometimes you really just don't need to be. It's made a lower low. I'm going to wait for it to pop back up and give me strong continuation signals, start allowing these shorts to make money, and then I would be more willing to execute. What did I have up here? Okay, US, I think this was US 30, right? This was the throwaway, the one that I didn't really want to see. All right, we got oil continuing to follow through down. Honestly, was kind of hoping to see a bit more of a pullback. We've got the break in structure, the breakdown. Anytime something breaks down or breaks out, it goes sideways, which is great. But it hasn't, there's been no pop-up. There's no pullback. So I guess I could go down to a 1 minute and enter that way, but I would much rather wait for a little bit more of a significant pullback to get in. Absolutely cheap. Yeah, if there's anybody else in here that wants to see anything, you know, I've got this one screen up here where it's kind of a throwaway, so I can look at anything you'd like. Ahmed, on oil, are you waiting for 3 pushes against the trend? Yeah, so whenever you have a break in structure, to answer your question directly, yes, I'm waiting for it to pull back. I need some kind of 3 push pullback. And on a 5-minute chart, it might only be a couple of bars. On a 1 minute, it might have a more significant pullback. What I don't want to do is chase the price down, which is why I'm waiting for that pullback. All right, we've got the lower low. It's beginning to do kind of what I want it to do. It just hasn't quite made it there. Watch NASDAQ. Why? What's happening? Maybe like it's weakening. Is that what you're thinking, Shaky? Which would be an odd divergence. It's basically like a divergence between the indexes. All right, we've got US 30 going vertical, Russell going vertical, and then the NASDAQ seeming to lose a bit of steam. Maybe. But we could just see, you know, a couple bars of pullback here. They're still on the inside of this 1 bar's range. one bar high and low, open, high, low, close. They haven't closed any higher. They haven't closed any lower. They've just wicked up and wicked down. So we got a high and a low outside of this bar's range, basically just being manipulated. Okay, gold popping back up. Bit of an interesting pattern they've got going. We got a flat, it's basically like a flat bottom and an expanding top leading to a breakout. This happened the other day. Wait, this happened the other way a few days ago. Rotation. What do you mean, Shaky? It happens a lot. And I'll even say this bar could close below this bar's low, and then the next bar that forms could lose steam immediately and then start pulling higher, and that would tell me that they're trapping shorts, they're squeezing higher. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. Really would like to see them break the low first before I even think about executing. It would have been nice to have came into the session with the low already having been broken, which is why I kind of had the rustle up here. And honestly, Shaky, you might end up getting, I won't even call it lucky. Like, there was a reason that you've done this. But you've shorted at the high of the day, which is, I just don't do it consistently where I'm at the high of the day, so I'm looking to short because this is kind of what happens to me when I do that. But you might have just got in and got out really quick, which would be awesome for you. I will say this is very interesting. Now, if this wicks, that would be unfortunate. Like, we've just came down, we opened this bar, we came from up here all the way down to here. Look at gold as well. No, breaks in structure, it needs to be a close. I look for it to close lower than the level. Because, so at this point right now, for example, we've made higher highs, we pulled back, and then we've gone to higher highs. If this bar closed like this, we would technically still be making higher highs and higher lows as far as like if I was looking at the close. They would have wicked through the level but not made a lower low. Yes, this bar has gone lower, but it's not necessarily a super good signal. They could start to pull back up, which I've seen plenty of times where they put a bar down like this, immediately go back into consolidation, and then you get a breakout of that one bar's range, and it just continues to go up. And of course, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I do think the NASDAQ might have very decent potential. I might have just sniped an entry. It was a decent pull just off of that little scalp. What I'm trying to do right now, I don't think it's ready. I would like to see it give me a good 3 push pattern back up. I took a small scalp. Let's see here. I'll tell you all exactly what I did. It's about 45 ticks, so nothing huge. When this bar was it this one? It was fully all the way up here. I sold it, and then it tried to push down again, and I closed, which was good. Just a little scalp to hopefully pad my next position if I get back in. It would be death candle trap. Yeah. Yep. Okay, Russell is squeezing. Let's see, how did it break? Did we break down below this pretty well? So basically my red line is average. My red line is average price. I'm on TOS sometimes. Any futures broker works pretty good. I can get in and out really quick. And I use market executions most of the time. All right. Shorts are getting smoked right now. This is a humongous. Oh my gosh. If this retracement's too big, they might end up just squeezing out every short, especially if we get the breakout of this bar higher. This is a good time for me to wait and see what they do, because they might obliterate shorts right now and then squeeze higher, which I'm not going to take part of. Although it might honestly be a P formation low of week. I can't justify an actual trading setup off of it. I'd have to just trade direction. An FU candle, yeah. But this is, so yes, and it would be very easy for people, I think, to just get mad at this and be like, how is this even possible? Like, look at this bar. Like, the market is fake. It's not real. Like, what is this? What is this? And that's where I come back to, and I have to reiterate, like, we've just made a lower low. This could be it just doing its pullback. All right, if this bar fails to go higher, this is the whiplash that you tend to go through. All right, this bar could fail to go higher than this bar. We could see a rollover. Of course, it could just keep going up, right, if it continues to make higher highs. But it's feeding us information right now. We went lower. We were capable of breaking and going lower, but instead of consolidating down low and then rolling over, there might be a little bit of strength left in there. So I need to sit and wait and see, does it roll over, or is this like someone kind of put it, an FU candle? Yeah, it is that little scalp that I just took. I mean, it was over and done with in what, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, over 50 ticks on a mini. So, you know, not bad. I think it's worth waiting for. Okay, oil's coming down. Dragging a little low, a bit lower, but also kind of creeping. Seems like it's creeping. And the reason I say it looks like it's creeping from this chart is because it wicks down. It takes a long time for it to eventually get out of there, which is fine. And it just keeps doing that. And it seems like it's putting these wicks down here and taking a lot of time to press lower. Which gives kind of a creeping feel, like it's prepping for a pullback, which means I really don't want to chase this thing. We could be seeing it pop back up here. Frankly, you know, in reality, what could happen is it's the first day of the week, no news Monday. Maybe it consolidates, maybe it does whatever, and then the move is for tomorrow. You know, maybe it's like a 3-session setup starting morning session New York. Maybe it goes in Asia or London. I don't know. We got a lot of time though left in the session, so I think that I'd be willing to keep an eye on it. You know, if I don't get anything else, then you know, I'll just keep an eye on it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Back to watching paint dry. Things got kind of interesting there for a second. And that scalp that I took is pretty common scalp that I like to take. You know, this break in structure here. Like I'm fairly confident that, you know, they're going to pop back up. But in a lot of cases, they'll make it look like it's going to keep going lower. So what a lot of people will do is they'll see that candle close, and then it starts to dip lower, and they sell it. So when it popped back up here, and I sold it, and then it continued to go lower. So on the follow through, I just got out because I know that they just broke down, so they're going to pop back up. There's no reason for me to hold on to something. It was a good scalp. Nobody gets a free lunch, locked in, walking away. Gain. What did you do? What was your trade? Not an interrogation. I'm just curious. Is this still the Russell? Yeah. Okay, Good. Came out of the high. We've came out of a previous day's high or low is here. So we pop back up. And I do have a 1 minute chart open on my other screen. I've got the NASDAQ open right now. I think the Russell still does have potential. As far as like what I would be waiting for, to see over here, I would be waiting for this higher high to fail. So it'd be lower low, higher high that fails. If they start closing lower than this little line up on my screen, I'd be looking for them to continue to make lower lows from that point. I might even be willing to take this and do something like this to find my first target. So I might target, somewhere down in here if I were to get in on that, right? And ultimately probably just target the low of the day. Now, if it expands rapidly or, it really starts pushing lower, it's a Monday with no news, so probably not. But on any other given day, when I'm looking at a breakout trade or a trend trade, a breakout trend trade, Joseph, good morning. Take low of day and bottom of the box that becomes top of box. You measure from there to there, and that'll give you somewhat accurate, pretty decent targets. Looking to expand the range. Let's see here. Gains. You said I was in earlier because high wick went short. Okay, so a little scalp. I totally read. All right. Okay, with NASDAQ pulling back, on a 5 minute chart, if you look at it, we got this candle down, this candle back up. So it's kind of putting us in a longs are short, or longs are trap, shorts are trap sort of scenario here. I want to see somebody very, yeah, it is previous week's closing price as well. But I would really like to see some long or shorts start making money before I would be willing to execute on this. Right now on a 1 minute, if you look, it's just kind of just in like this little flag pattern or whatever. But you could sit here and speculate about that pattern all day long. But who's making money? Big down, close bar, pause, big down, close bar, and then kind of a 1, 2, 3. So it might even be kind of like once, twice, third time. So shorts likely trapped somewhere below here. Yeah. Let's get them making some money. Let's let, like this guy down here, if he starts making money, I feel pretty decent. Because it's like, okay, they've got both sides caught, and they're starting to let one side out. What about the Russell? Oh, well, no. Russell is, I'm just waiting for it to close lower in this line. All right. Something that's interesting, though, that I've just noticed, because the new 5 minute bar formed and also a new hour, I get scared, I get jumpy, and I short this bar. And I'm like, oh no, this is bad. But then this bar makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, I'll hold on to it. This bar makes me feel a little bit better about my life. Like, oh my gosh, there's no way, if I short this bar, there's no way that I'm not going to make money on this trade now. Look at this bar. then this one closed just slightly higher than this one. So I'm not saying that they're not going to keep going down. I'm just saying that these are like the little things that I try to notice as the morning progresses to just help me build a thesis. Because if they do go lower, then I could say, well, maybe this is like a head and shoulders on a lower time frame. And they just broke the neckline, and maybe my thesis, my original thesis, maybe it's playing out. I just sit here and play devil's advocate with myself all morning. It's like a chess match, me versus me. Yeah, you have to. If you see it one-sided, if you just constantly see it one-sided, you'll start to get that mentality of like for example, if I wanted to go long on this and I see this bar and I go long and it starts to pull back, it's like, how could it possibly not just keep going from this? Like, what am I doing wrong? The market must be at fault. It's not my fault, it's the market's fault. Okay, gold is piquing my interest. Up, down, up, neckline. And a down moving market. Huh, of course. Of course I typed it in wrong. Why wouldn't I type it in wrong? All right. That's interesting. All right, and on a 1 minute chart, they've even done a 3 peaks. I'm gonna wait for this 5 minute bar to close. I want to make sure that they're not. I don't. It kind of feels like they're not, but I want to make sure they're not pulling my leg. Don't jerk me around, you know. And this is also a telescoping pattern. We've got a smaller down close bar to a slightly larger to a blow off down close bar, which could just be the acceleration of the move, that would be great. That's kind of what I want to see. But if this is telescoping to get people trapped and caught, obviously I don't want to do that. Okay, they've even done this little 1, 2, 3 maneuver at closing price. They broke back down below it. I'm not going to say that there's massive amounts of evidence that they're not letting those people back out. Seven seconds on this 5 minute bar. We're into the new hour. What does the 1 hour chart look like? That's a nice down close bar. Okay. Yeah. Back into consolidation we go. No news Monday. We might be seeing a little bit of back and forth. It's also the third hour, which is a lot of times we'll see the completion of a move in the third hour. We're getting that immediate loss. All right, I'm pretty well hydrated. I'm gonna have to come back. Coming right back. See, NASDAQ to me. Yeah, I think shaky, the same thing is kind of possibly proven to be true in my mind. I still think that gold has potential. I just think that it needs to actually start moving. You know, we need to see some proof. Look at this. We're sending some lows again over here. Like maybe we're going to squeeze. I don't know. We get this 1 bar range down here, kind of like I was just describing earlier. It just broke out of that. Okay, gold. We've got a down close bar followed by a breakout bar. They didn't close really much lower than this bar is low, but we closed at the low. So we would need to see some violent follow through. Could also be considered a breakout fake out bar in the completion or the continuation of a down move. So that'd be good to see. But when that happens, I like to see them flush the low of the bar and just follow through. So like right now, even on a 1 minute chart, we can mess around for a few minutes, but it really needs to continue to follow through. And with no news Monday, you know, is the pizzazz there? Is the volume there to actually move it? I don't know. index is squeezing a bit higher. CPR tomorrow, PPI Wednesday. Yeah. So like right now they've created these ranges. We could just see a lot of manipulation throughout the day. All right. For transparency, I have shorted gold. I'm going to see if that pays off, plays out, or if this is no bueno. Tight stops. Now, this is a low-hanging fruit. This is a scalp trade to me. I'm not looking for an insane move. Okay, I added to my position. I'm still at break even. All right, we're getting a little bit off there. Close that bar. So basically now I'm going to hold at break even for the low of the day. I got paid. I'm happy. Now I can hold for the full move. Can I show the entry? Absolutely. I was alluding to it earlier. Remember, I do these streams because I don't desperately, but I think that I'm out. I'm all out now. I'm not going to hold for an extra couple ticks. I'm really trying to, I get about 50 or 60 of y'all in here per day, and that's great. If I can get 50 or 60 of y'all to become free thinkers and really just be here and to enjoy trading with other people, that's a big win in my book. So I tried to allude to certain things. I don't want you all to think into every single thing that I say, but if I'm focusing in on something, and it's following through, right? So we talked about this earlier, the lower low. I said, well, that's a 1, 2, 3 back up. Okay, gold has my attention because that's an up, down, up, and the neckline. I said almost those exact words. And then I was talking about how it's either telescoping because it's a trap or it's telescoping because it's the acceleration of the move. All right, so now we have this bar closing lower. And I said this bar right here is either a breakout fake out bar or it's the trap for the telescope. And I didn't know which one it was going to be. This is the inside bar right here. This is what it looked like. It's all on the inside of this one bar's range. 1, 2, 3 to the high. Engulfment. Breaks down, goes sideways, and begins to follow through. This is where I started getting in. Because this is telling me now that this could be a breakout fake out bar. This is the final trap before actually following through, which allows me to get in with very small and minimal risk and allow this thing to follow through. I added into my position, got some off, and then now obviously you can see where it's at. Reoccurring setups. Lower low, 3 peaks to the high, starts to break down, it goes sideways. Instead of breaking down, going sideways, and then continuing to go back up, which would have solidified the trap, or even closing some down closed bars over here and then continuing to go higher, which would have also helped solidify a trap. Instead, it continued to pull lower and drag the longs into the abyss. You know what I mean? So this is a beautiful little pump for a dump pattern. 3 peaks, goes into consolidation, breaks down, goes sideways, and then goes back to where that move began. Perfect template. Oil, never took a trade. Look at this. The centipede of unhappiness, right? The caterpillar of disappointment. All right. I don't like these little creepers that just kind of pitter patter, because how many times have you seen this? And then I was talking about how I was waiting for oil basically to pull back. Little creeper. All I got to do is put one bar. One bar. One bar will take out all of this. And then who knows what they do next. It could just do something like this. And then like this. And that's what I could have been waiting for to get in with a more accurate entry instead of trying to trade the drag. I don't like this stuff. It's too uncertain. Oh geez. Okay. Appreciate that, Nathaniel. I think I'm happy with that. It's pretty decent. You know, it's not a home run. It's not a 200 or 300 point or pip move or whatever. You know, a little bread and butter though. Not bad. And that puts me up somewhat decent for the day. Hey, good afternoon. ALM. South Africa. Very cool. Paul, you said that you missed it. Were you talking about gold? Ekman, I totally 100% agree with you. I think that the new schedule is dictating back half of the week moves being a little bit easier to trade, probably less choppy. I think this was a diamond in the rough. No good clean follow through. It's definitely not a move that's not going to come back. This one, but that's why it was a scalp to me. It was a back to the low sort of scalp instead of I'm going to hold this thing until end of session. Hopefully we get one of those this week. I'd like to find a good hold to end of session trade. Okay, this might be a good place or thing to talk about, right? What if this show of hands, how many of you would be willing to take this if this bar closed? If it closed down like this, who would be willing to execute that? I'm going to explain to you why I personally would not be willing to execute. Why I think it would be lower probability. And it simply comes down to who is making money right now and who is trapped. This guy is definitely trapped. That poor soul sold and immediately is getting hit pretty hard. Now, maybe he has a wider stop. Maybe not. Or maybe someone sold here, seeing this, and then it popped back up and start to roll over. They've sold this, and they said, hey, this move is good. Who's to say that it won't do that again? Why are we not letting the shorts make money? Why is it every time the shorts have the opportunity to get in and start to make money, the market immediately takes it away from them and goes higher? I want to start seeing shorts make money if I was going to take this. Same thing over here. Middle finger, middle finger, middle finger, middle. They're making higher lows. They're not going any higher necessarily, but they're also not allowing the shorts to make money. It's squeezing higher. That could, of course, change. We could break down. How many times have you seen that? All right, it looks like this, and then they get the big bar back down. Well, then what would I do? I'd still be waiting. I'd go down probably to a lower time frame. It's broken down. Is it going to go sideways? After it goes sideways, what is it going to do? Is it going to follow through like gold did, where I have an opportunity to enter? Or does it immediately take it away? One final middle finger, right? One final trap to the shorts, and then goes run and makes that run to the upside. Trying to wait for the highest probability. I took the 1023 candle up and got out for a fast scalp. On gold? Oh, wow. You've got stones, Polly. this. They got a high in place, which is the high of the, the high of the day. Put this wick up here. And now we've got the low down here. They've just engulfed a 1, 2, 3, but we still. Oh, here we go. So oil, right? They've been creeping down. We might see that pop up now. I wouldn't be willing to take it now. We're very late in the session, but yeah. I think I saw someone earlier. What did you say about this? I could have swore I saw somebody say something earlier about macro, about not caring about the macro. Good stuff, Polly. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully it was a good and successful day for you. Gain some. Probably already gone, but I just saw your message. Good stuff, Polly. Heck yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the chat, of the stream. I think it's dying down. We're dying down. I'm dying down. I'm ready to eat food and work out. What is today? I've got a squat. Today's a squat day. And then it's mostly back. So, I think I'm going to end stream here. But we're going to do this every day this week. I'll be doing this every day this week. Trading together. Hope you have a good rest of your day. See you tomorrow, same time, 9:15. Ready to go. Bye-bye.